So this video is basically about the RG552 and its previous or unfound ability to get Dolphin running properly. In other words, GameCube ROMs or games running properly on the Android side. Mind you, I am running the latest build of AOSP 9.0 by Black Seraph off patreon.com. It's a little bit of a monthly subscription. It's like $10, but you can cancel at any time. I would recommend anyone to go there and get this because this custom firmware, it has actually the ability to overclock. And what I'm doing on my device is, as you can see here, my overclock is all the way at 2208 plus 1800 megahertz. So as you can see, default is 1800 plus 1416. We want to go all the way to 2208 plus 1800 megahertz. That's max overclock. And for Dolphin, we want to set the fan to high. I say that because running Dolphin on this device, although it drains battery a little more, like playing this one or Dreamcast, Redream or whatever, I mean, it's hard to say, but hard of a way to say it, but the more powerful the emulator is, or the device that you're trying to emulate is, like a Dreamcast, a Saturn, a 3DS, or a GameCube in this instance, it takes up a lot more battery juice off the CPU. So with that said, it also gets the device kind of hot. So this custom firmware has the ability to set the fan on low, medium, high, or auto. I would just prefer to have it on high while I'm doing this video because I don't know how long this video is going to be. We're already at like just past 2 minutes here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight which Dolphin emulator you're supposed to download. Don't download the one off the Play Store. That's no good. The official one, the stable or beta or whatever off the website, those are no good. You want to be going after the Dolphin MMJ build. Okay? The link for the exact build by the exact dev will be posted below this video on YouTube shortly. As to, you click it where you can go exactly download it. It's the latest one. I think the latest one as of this date is May 2nd of this year by, I think it's like Bank AI Master 999 if I'm not mistaken. Anyways. So now with that said, let's get out of here. This is set on high because it can get a little hot. As I said, it drains battery playing it because it's GameCube, the CPU, all that stuff. So here we go. Let's go to my emulators. And we'll go to, it's actually, sorry, Dolphin MMJR. So we're going to go here. These are just some of the ROMs that I have in possession. And the only one that I found that works subpar as compared to the others is Metroid Prime. Don't ask me why. Probably just a super graphically intensive game with a lot going on, and the frames per second drop below like 18, 17, 19-ish on average while playing. It's subpar, it's playable, but it's not that enjoyable. All the other ones that I've tried are playable and enjoyable. Including Mario Sunshine, Twilight, Resident Evil 4, and the original Resident Evil, including Wind Waker as well. I haven't tried Twin Snakes Metal Gear Solid yet. That's one to try in the future, but as I said, the more graphically intensive the game is with this particular emulator and system, the GameCube, it can take a while to figure out if the settings and the frames per second are attuned to your own likability, and so on and so forth while playing the game. So, anyways, here we go. I'm going to start with Wind Waker Zelda. And before we get into actually selecting it, because I'm already set up with the settings, there's a few things you got to do in the settings to get this build to work correctly. Okay? So, what we need to do is we need to go to, is it here? Well, I guess it's there. What does this do again? Oh, right. That just changes the display of the covers. So, well, the positive is just to set up your ROM path. So let's go to settings. GameCube input, that's up to you guys to figure out. I mean, sorry, but it's not that difficult to do it. Either you use the function button on the bottom of the device, or you just set them up accordingly. Toggle off, you know, the display of the buttons on the screen itself, so those get removed while playing a game. Or you can use a mapper on the bottom function where Black Serif set it up as like a mapper function capability. Anyways, I did it my own way, it's fine. Anyways, let's continue. You got to go to general. I think, let me see, hold on. I'm just doing this all off the top of my head from when I figured it out earlier. Let's start with general. JIT ARM64, fine, dual core. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Override emulated clock speed. This needs to be selected with a check. As you can see on mine. The clock speed, I've been testing this out for probably the last few hours, and I think the sweet spot for this device, again, the RG552 by Anbernic, set it to 165%. Again, with max overclock of the custom firmware that I showed you earlier, with this being 2208 plus 1800 megahertz, and the fan on high, just to protect the device in case it overheats. 165, there you go, I already had it. Speed limit 100. Skip on idle, you want to have that non-selected with it, with no check, just leave it in an empty box because that'll slow down the emulation in a big way. Fast disk speed checked. JIT follow branch checked. Audio stretching, you want to keep that selected or else the audio is going to be all messed up. Audio backend open SLES, and the other one non-checked. Just save, but I've already done it. Every time you got to hit save, it'll say save to .ini settings. But I've already done it, that's why it didn't appear. So you're going to go back into settings. You're going to go to graphics. Keep it Vulkan because OpenGL ES doesn't work. OpenGL, sorry. OpenGL doesn't work on the 552. Only Vulkan does. Show frames per second. I'm going to keep that selected because I want to disclose and portray, you know, the frames per second that, you know, you guys are witnessing while the video is played off YouTube that you're watching, etc. Shader compilation mode, you want to have it as synchronous. Compile shaders before starting, yep, that's checked. Backend multi-threading, no. Auto and 100. Okay, let's go back. Interface, what's an interface? Sorry guys, let me check here. I took off panic handlers. That one was automatically selected when you download the emulator for the first time. I took that off because that's just, there are messages that appear sometimes when you play and it gets annoying, so I removed that. I have that unchecked. That's in interface. Again, when you make all these changes, don't forget to hit this floppy disk icon to save. You're going to make all these changes, you're going to start playing a game, and nothing's going to work. It's not going to work properly. Every time you go in here and you make a change, you know, go like that, and there you go. It'll say save settings to .ini files. You have to do that. Don't forget to do that. So let's go back to settings. So again, general, you want to see what I got. Again, 165. Wait a minute, that's speed limit, sorry. 165 for emulated CPU clock speed. It's the sweet spot. Just trust me, don't even mess around with the speed of the device or anything. 160 to 165% is the sweet spot of getting these to run at proper frame rates so they're playable and enjoyable. Anywhere average, if someone was to ask me right now and I wanted to answer them like a frequently asked question, okay, what's average frames per second, bro? This video's been going on for almost 10 minutes. Average frames per second on these games off this device when everything is said and done with the tutorial here in this video, about 25, 26. Anywhere from 22 to 26 frames per second. I would just say average 25 out of 30. Most games play at 30 frames per second off the original GameCube on a CRT TV. So, yeah, 25 out of 30. Sometimes in different areas, it depends on what's going on graphically and via audio. But more or less, you're going to be getting 25, 26 out of 30 the whole time. Getting to 28, 29, 30 full speed, that's asking for too much. I would say an average 24, 25, 26 steady you'll be getting when this is all said and done. So let's continue. Again, here's 165. Don't forget to do that. Hit save. Whatever. I already did it. Here we go. Back. We're missing 2 sections. The GameCube thing, there's nothing in there you need to select. Okay? The rest that's on the bottom, debug, Wii, GameCube, you don't need to mess with. It's the first 5. General, graphic settings, enhancement, hacks, and interface. We went through general graphic settings and interface. So now we need to start with, let's go to enhancements. Okay, sorry, I'm wiping something off my glasses here. Enhancements. This is important. Internal resolution, it has to be 1. If you go 2 over, it's going to make the frames per second go down per game that you're playing. What else? What else did I change from how it comes originally? Load custom textures. No, that's non-checked. Prefetch custom textures. No, non-checked. Full screen anti-aliasing is off. This one is off. Post-processing is off. What you see how I have it is correct. Arbitrary bitmap detection, that has to be selected. Save. And now hacks. All 5 of the first 8 out of the settings are important, so follow my lead. Everyone. Skip EFB access from CPU. Unchecked. That's correct. I'm just trying to remember if I have these correctly set from when the last time I was playing, that's all. Anyways, ignore format changes to the EFB format. Yes, checked. Store EFB copies to texture only. Checked. Defer EFB copies to RAM. May result in faster performance. Checked. Yes, that's correct. All these others, I believe, are, wait a minute, until we get to the bottom. External frame buffer section, here we go. Store XFB copies to texture only. Yes, I remember changing that. That's checked. Immediately present XFB. Yes, that's important too. Keep that checked. And then skip duplicating frames checked. Okay, fast depth calculation and TMEM cache emulation all checked. Great, save. Now, there's one last detail that I need to mention before we continue. And that is when you enter a game, okay, sometimes some of these selections won't be saved. It's like a minor thing that the dev needs to fix, and it's like a shout out to the dev if Bank AI Master 999 is watching this in the future. Sometimes when you load every game, some of these settings are not already pre-loaded into the individual game setting. In other words, I'm going to load up Zelda, and here we go. We're going to see great frames per second as opposed to like the regular Dolphin emulator, okay? You can already see that we're catching about 20, 26. Here we go. Hold on a second. I'm trying to raise the volume on this thing. Now getting this part of the intro, it gets like 15 to 20. There's a lot going on with the water and the birds and all the other. Here we go. And now it goes up. 20, 21, 19, 20, 21. It'll increase as it continues to play. 22, 22. Watch, it'll keep getting better. Unless I miss something with one of the settings. There you go, 25, 27, 24, 25, 26, 27. See? So, anyways, let's start. Just to showcase if what I'm rambling adds up and is correct. Unless I missed one or two minor settings in the settings of the emulator, this should work. So here we go. What are we getting? Well, this is by the water, and again, it all is dependent upon like what's going on with the actual game, how graphic intensive certain sections of the games are, etc. But overall, right at this very moment, you're seeing it at 18. Okay, so let's not get out of control, bent out of shit. Hey, why isn't it 25, 26 like you were saying? Give me a second to think here. This needs to go. That little yellow thing needs to go. There you go. Now I'm gonna stop. That's what I want. Perfect. Let's get off this. Oh, I know why it's a little slow. It's because of what I was saying earlier. Each individual game, it's like a glitch. It's like, yeah, I guess that's what you could call it for the emulator, this Dolphin MMJR by Bank AI Master 999. With individual games, you've got to go back into the settings. I get rid of Rumble, you don't need that. When you originally download it, that'll be selected. You don't really need it. If you want it, you can keep it. It doesn't really slow down FPS, but I just take it off. I don't want my device rumbling. Show FPS, yes, relative center, whatever. See what I'm saying? Some of these settings that I did in the settings as you saw earlier were checked, but here they're not. Like I'm saying, it's a small glitch of the emulator, which you got to go back into the settings, pre-config, and input them again. Some stick, some don't. You just have to do that for every time the game starts. Go back in here, redo the setting, start the game again, and I'm gonna replay this from the beginning. I'm gonna get out of here, come back into the game, and then you're gonna see the difference. So here we go. Skip EFB access from CPU. If you select that, the game's gonna go even slower, so don't. Store EFB copies to texture only. Yes. Ignore format changes. Yes. Arbitrary map to section. Present XFB. Checked. Display scale 100. Skip. Let me see something. Sync on skip idle will slow it down. I think that's the one I meant instead of the other one. It's this one. If you select this one, it's gonna really slow it down. So make sure that's unselected. Skip EFB access from CPU. Let's leave that unchecked. Now, I may have forgotten. If there's only one setting I may have forgotten for this working perfectly as I'm claiming to showcase, it would have to be that setting. So override. Okay, 165. That's saved. It. JIT follow branch. So now that I went like this, from this to this, I'm gonna get out of here. Watch it go up. See that? It went from 16 to 30. You see that? So let's get out of here. Now earlier we were at what, like 17, 18 on the bridge, 16, 17, 18. Look, now it's at 26, 25, 23, 22. See? Don't ask me how I got lucky. I downloaded this particular MMJ off the internet. I started messing around with the settings and I got lucky. Don't ask me how I knew how to do this from just understanding how all this works. There are a lot of these settings that even maybe the developer doesn't even know what works right or not for certain games. Don't ask me how I did it. I just got lucky. And I'm showcasing it to the world on YouTube so that others that buy this device or think this device is no good because it can't play GC or even 3DS for long. Certain games with 3DS are hit and miss, but we're not talking about 3DS in this video. Anyways, continuing on. I'm just running around to showcase to everyone that this actually plays GameCube pretty smoothly, as opposed to everyone thinking that they couldn't play it. See, I'm getting 26, 23, so average about 25, 26. This should go up to 30 by the time. Again, it's just different areas of the game. 29. Look how smooth. See? I'm getting like 26 here, 27, 26. We get to 25, 21 for a second, 27. I think it's that water that's actually doing it. One time around this section, I got to like 30. Let me try something. I'm gonna try one thing just to see if this does anything. it slows it down. I knew it. So that one has to stay. Move back. Just remember that this one has to stay unselected. So I should go back up. You're still going back up. Yeah. That one stays unselected. Anyway, so that's Wind Waker. Pretty much in a nutshell. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna keep running around so you guys see that this thing can actually play pretty fast with decent frame rates. And again, this section of the game, there's a lot of water, there's a lot of animals, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of graphic intensive buildings around, there's a look at this, mountain, what is that called? A lot of rock, bush, things you gotta grab, throw, so I think it's the water that really slows down the frames per second in this area of the game. But as you can see, I'm getting a solid 24, 25 to 27 frames per second. 28, solid. It's pretty cool that Link can do this in this game. I didn't even know I could do that until I was there. Bang. Okay, so this is pretty much Link. I'm gonna let the intro go one more time because I didn't get that selection done. So let's start it up again. This is that does save state, I think. So there's no need to worry about that. And then this is for like the controls. You want to get those things out of the way. You got to make sure that toggle all on or off and hit OK and they'll disappear. What else is needed in here? You don't want to select any of these. It's usually you get the settings in here. This is how it has to look. If you put sync on skip idle, don't do it. You're doing yourself harm. Keep that off. Rumble, that's optional. Skip EFB access from CPU, that's right. Everything else that you see how it is here has to stay selected. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'll do that. Yeah, this emulator you have to do it this particular way. I want to start this game one more time, and from what I remember, it was like a 14, 15, 16 FPS. Let's start it up one more time, just for like a minute. Just for like 30 seconds. Certain games max go 30 frames per second. Certain other ones, very few go 60, like Metroid Prime. Let me see something. Should go faster now. See? It forgets. There's no way to save it. You have to do it every time the game loads. There it goes. 25, 29, 27, 28, 29, 27. It's a lot better than the first time I loaded it up, you see? So, yeah. Let's get out of this. And I want to try one more. Mario Sunshine or Twilight Princess. I'll do Resident Evil because I have a save state in there. So, oh yeah, I gotta do it, every game. I always forget this sometimes. Sometimes it saves, sometimes it doesn't. 165 select. Okay, so this one saved. Again, it's a glitch. So sometimes you gotta go in there every time you load a game. It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Just to make sure all the selections and the percentages correct. Oh no! That's spooky, man. Anyways. This is just from the beginning of the game. So, anyways. There you go, 30. 31, 30. maybe it's happening there. I'm not gonna go on the door, that's the zombie. I just wanna run around so you guys see the frames per second average. Let's go to the main corridor of the mansion where you first enter from outside. This is just, there's no zombies here.
That gunfire. I'm counting on you to investigate, Jill.
Sure thing, Wesker.
See? This device can handle a whole lot. You just gotta know what you're doing with certain settings and certain emulators. Again, I got lucky with just messing around with settings and all. Oh no, Zombieville! Let's see. I don't want to go in here. I'm gonna get spoofed. I'm not gonna load Metroid Prime if I want to do one more because that one is, it's playable, but not as good as those two. Resident Evil 4 is playable. I never tested Twilight, Sunshine, or Metal Gear yet, but those maybe I'll do in separate videos just as like a showcase type of video. Anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. Bye!